you're doing it wrong. And no, this isn't some dramatic exaggeration. It's exactly what I heard from a vascular surgeon colleague at the last medical conference on erectile dysfunction. He was talking about men who keep doing certain workouts, thinking they're helping their bodies, when in fact they're speeding up the path to surgery. And the strangest part? Most of these men have one thing in common. They can no longer achieve firm erections. Yes, that's what today's video is about. About what's really behind erectile dysfunction. That slow, creeping issue many try to mask with a blue pill or a change in their gym routine. But today, the solution isn't found in a capsule, and it doesn't come from a scalpel either. It comes from something so absurd it sounds fake. A cold drink that, according to recent studies, can restore blood flow to the penis in just 7 minutes. This isn't a trick. It's physiology. So why isn't anyone talking about it? Maybe because it sounds too simple. Or too cheap. Or because it challenges everything you were taught about strength, masculinity, and the male body. But I'll walk you through it, step by step. Why a simple glass of a cold drink, when prepared the right way and taken at the right moment, can trigger a physical reaction that no leg day, no supplement, and no fitness guru ever taught you how to access. And before you jump to conclusions, no, it's not just cold water. It's a cocktail of nervous, thermal, and hormonal responses. And your body, even at 60, 70, or 80 years old, is still capable of responding if you know how to activate the right triggers. But first, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That helps me keep bringing you serious, provocative, and helpful content, no fluff. And leave a comment below. If you believe your body can still respond after 60, type revive. If you've tried everything and nothing worked, type tired. Both answers are welcome, and each one takes this conversation even deeper. There's a detail in the male body that most people miss, but it reveals, without disguise, when something is off, the time it takes for the blood to arrive, and more importantly, the time it takes to stay. I'm not talking about heart rate. I'm talking about rigidity, erection, something that should happen naturally, but, for many men over 60, has become a distant memory. Or worse, a frustrating test repeated night after night without success. But the real insight isn't just the failure. It's the timing of the response. And that's what caught my attention when I began studying a series of physiological reactions triggered by an incredibly simple drink. When you consume something cold, your body activates an automatic response. First, it constricts your blood vessels to preserve core body temperature. That's what we call reflex vasoconstriction. But right after that, and here's what matters, your body reacts with the opposite effect. A sudden, forced expansion of the vessels called reactive vasodilation. This effect happens within minutes, and even though it may seem like just a temperature swing, it directly impacts blood flow in the pelvic region, especially when your body is at rest, like in the early morning hours. Now imagine that expansion of vessels boosted by minerals like magnesium and potassium, found in coconut water. At the same time, natural compounds like menthol activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for reflex erections, muscle relaxation, and blood flow to your reproductive organs. It's not just a biological coincidence. It's a small trick of body engineering, a code you can trigger with a simple act, a cold drink at the right time. And the most surprising part? Your body recognizes the signal, even after years of no response, even after countless failed attempts, even when your mind has already given up. Your body still knows how to respond. You just have to hit the right switch. That's the point where many men report something that traditional medicine often ignores. Doctor, I felt something move, and it's been a long time since that happened. That sensation isn't a placebo. It's circulation. It's reactivation. It's your body saying, I'm still here. You just forgot how to use me. If you're looking to reclaim control over your intimate life, naturally, consciously, and with depth, my digital book might be your next step. In Rediscovering Intimacy, Healthy Sexuality. After 60, I share clear, practical guidance to strengthen your sex life, improve circulation naturally, and rebuild trust in your relationship, without relying on medication or invasive procedures. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment. If you've made it this far, your body is already asking for a fresh start. This book was made exactly for that. For years, medicine has treated erectile dysfunction with the same old logic. If it's not rising, it must be low testosterone. If it's not testosterone, it's a vascular issue. And if it's neither, then it must be psychological. But what if it's something simpler? That question came up when I started noticing a pattern in the reports of some patients who were seeing small but consistent improvements, not because of medication, but after adopting a nearly trivial habit, drinking a glass of a cold mixture first thing in the morning. At first, I didn't think much of it. I assumed it was just another coincidence. But the reports kept coming, with details that were too similar to ignore. That's when I decided to study what was actually in this drink, and what I discovered made me rethink some core concepts. The first ingredient is natural coconut water, unsweetened, with no preservatives. Most people think of coconut water as a tropical sports drink, something refreshing, good for hydration. But few realize it contains high concentrations of potassium, magnesium, and small amounts of arginine, an amino acid that helps produce nitric oxide, the same compound that erectile medications try to force the body to release. But here, there's no chemical pressure, no synthetics. The body responds because it recognizes it, because the minerals come from nature, not a lab. The second ingredient may seem decorative, but it's actually strategic: fresh mint leaves. When gently pressed at the bottom of the glass, they release menthol, an essential oil with vasodilating effects, and more importantly, a stimulator of the vagus nerve, the main pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for triggering a reflex erection, without effort and without visual stimulation. This combination is powerful, but the real secret isn't in the isolated ingredients. It's in how they interact when consumed cold. You see, cold triggers a chain of thermal reactions in the body. When that happens at the same time your bloodstream is absorbing magnesium, potassium, and menthol, your body doesn't just dilate vessels, it prioritizes blood flow to areas that had been neglected. And one of those areas is the penile base, the control center for erections. Most urologists familiar with this drink today didn't learn it in med school or at conferences. It came from clinical observation, from listening to real patients, and being open to testing something science hasn't yet officially labeled. The result? It's not magic. It's physiological response, simple, effective, and surprisingly fast. Exactly how any reconnection between a man and his own body should be. If you're expecting yet another slow treatment that takes weeks before showing results, that's not what we're dealing with here. Because what happens with this drink doesn't follow the logic of long-term. It follows the logic of the body reacting to now. Let's start with something basic. Erection is not about desire, or luck, or even willpower. It's about flow, blood flow. And flow means movement. And in the human body, movement is driven by one thing: physiological urgency. That urgency begins the moment you drink something very cold. In the first few seconds, thermal sensors in your mouth, throat, and stomach alert the nervous system. We're below ideal temperature. The response is immediate. The body initiates peripheral vasoconstriction, narrowing small vessels to conserve heat at the core. But the body doesn't tolerate extremes for long, so it quickly switches gears. Reflex vasodilation. It's as if the body says, "All right, enough, restraint, time to compensate." This compensation moment is the key. It's when vessels expand rapidly, especially in areas sensitive to thermal regulation, like the pelvic region, the base of the penis, and the groin. Why so fast? Because the human body doesn't negotiate with circulation. It fixes imbalances the moment it senses a way to stabilize. And if, at that exact moment, the blood being redistributed is carrying vasodilating minerals like potassium and magnesium, along with menthol, activating the parasympathetic system, what happens? The blood arrives faster, and more importantly, it stays where it needs to be: 7 minutes. This is the average time that recent studies have shown to be enough for the body to respond with a noticeable increase in blood flow to the intimate area. This isn't a theory, it's real-time measurement, using thermographic imaging, intracavernous pressure variation, and consistent clinical reports. Of course, we're not talking about a miracle, but we're not talking about a placebo either. We're talking about timed physiology, about a body that, even after being neglected, still remembers how to work. It just needed the right signal to remember. And that signal, believe it or not, was hidden in something you probably already have in your fridge. It all started by accident, or rather, with a challenge. An old patient, Mr. Albert, 73 years old, a retired bus driver, came to the clinic with a skeptical look and a direct question. "Doctor, that thing you mentioned, the cold drink, is that some internet nonsense or does it really work?" I could have given him a technical answer filled with medical jargon, but I chose a different approach. Let's test it, and that's how it all began. I invited 5 patients aged between 62 and 78. All of them had a history of moderate erectile dysfunction, but none were using vasodilator medications. None of them knew what to expect. None of them believed something so simple could make a difference. For 7 days every morning before eating anything, they drank the mixture: natural coconut water, fresh mint leaves, and 10 minutes of refrigeration. No supplements, no dietary changes, no special exercises, just the drink. On the second day, I received the first message. It was from Mr. Paul, 68 years old. I felt a strange tingling down there, hard to explain, but it felt alive. On the third day, Mr. Albert called. His voice had changed. My wife asked if I'd started taking the little blue pill again, but I didn't take anything, just drank that cold drink you taught me. On the fourth day, another curious report. One of the patients, diabetic for over 20 years, said that for the first time in months, he woke up with a spontaneous morning erection. No stimulation, no dreams, no touch. And that's when curiosity became a protocol. I started logging times, reactions, patterns. I compared the results with previous penile blood flow tests and peripheral blood pressure readings. The numbers were modest, but the clinical effect was explosive. None of these men needed surgery. None had to increase their medication. None changed their routine, but they all reported the same thing: the feeling of being back in their own body. This small experiment raised a powerful question. How many men today are on the verge of invasive treatment, when maybe all they need is to give their body a chance to remember how to respond? It's not always a hormone issue. It's not always, psychological. Sometimes it's simply a lack of intelligent physiological stimulation, and that's when I stopped seeing this drink as a curious trick and started treating it as what it really is: a starting point. Simple, accessible, and potentially life-changing for those ready to relearn how to feel. The human body responds to stimuli, but not just any stimulus, at any time, in any way. It responds to rhythm, to intention, and to precision. That's why, if you want to activate what we call intelligent vasodilation, it's not enough to toss some ice in a glass and hope for the best. There's a specific way to prepare this drink, and every small detail matters more than you think. Start with 120 to 180 ml of natural coconut water. Not processed, not boxed with artificial flavor, not the one with a hint of lime. It must be fresh coconut water, ideally straight from the fruit or 100% pure, refrigerated. The reason is simple. Any additives, including sugar, interfere with the electrolyte effect your body needs to trigger the vasodilation reflex. Then add 3 to 4 fresh mint leaves. Not extract, not syrup. Fresh leaves. Use a spoon to gently press the bottom of the glass. You're not trying to tear the leaves, just to release the essential oils, especially menthol. Menthol, once absorbed through the mucous membranes, activates nerve endings connected to the vagus nerve, the same nerve involved in reflex erections. It's like flipping a switch, from the inside. Now comes the step almost everyone overlooks: the temperature. Place the glass in the fridge for at least 10 minutes. The cold is the key element. It triggers the thermal sequence that causes the blood vessels to contract and then expand. Room temperature won't work. Tossing in a few ice cubes and drinking fast won't work either. Your body needs to feel the cold from within, not just on the surface. The best time? Right after waking up. On an empty stomach. That's when your body is still in rest mode, and any circulatory stimulus has a stronger effect, especially in the pelvic region. Drink it slowly. This isn't soda. It's not a chugging contest. It's a precision ritual. Feel the liquid pass down your throat, into your stomach. Your body has already started responding quietly. Avoid coffee or food for at least 20 minutes afterward. That window gives your parasympathetic system time to activate fully, without digestive distractions or metabolic competition. And finally, if you can, move a little. Take a short walk. Stretch lightly. Nothing intense. Just enough to tell your blood, the path is open, and the area that had been forgotten is now reawakened. When repeated consistently, this ritual turns what looks like an innocent drink into a recovery tool. More than that, into a clear signal that the body, when respected at the right rhythm, still has plenty to give. It's not just blood that starts to flow again. It's presence. It's the confident voice saying, "Good morning." It's the stride that regains direction. It's the gaze that no longer avoids or explains itself. When the body starts to respond, even subtly, something changes. Not just in physiology, but in how a man sees himself and how others see him. Most of my patients don't want to be impulsive teenagers again. They want something else. The freedom not to pretend everything's fine. And when the body responds, even if just with an unexpected morning erection, warm feet, or a faint pressure at the base of the penis. It's as if the brain says, so it's true, there's still time. That, there's still time, isn't vulgar. It's intimate. It's deep. It's the recovery of a part of identity buried under silence, lowered eyes, and pills taken in secret. The man who regains confidence doesn't change only in the bedroom. He changes at the breakfast table. When he starts the conversation, he changes in how he listens to his partner without feeling small. He changes when he steps into the shower and doesn't look away from the mirror. And all of this began with a glass, a cold drink, a simple gesture, done with intention, with consistency, and with the courage to try once more. So if this video spoke to you in any way, if you saw a reflection of your own story in what I shared, subscribe to the channel. It helps me continue producing content that goes deeper and reaches what truly matters. And don't forget to like the video if it made sense to you. Then check out the other videos on the channel. There's much more real, practical content, made for men like you, mature, aware, and ready to reclaim control over their own bodies. My name is Laura, and it was an honor to share this moment with you. See you in the next video.